Dear students, good day. This is Sir Jun, and I welcome you to the introduction to the philosophy of the human person. Welcome to our week 1 lessons in philosophy. I would like to present some ideas in our lessons very briefly and explain a little so that you'll be able to take note the important concepts of our lessons in the first week of philosophy of the human person. First, we begin with this question: why we have to study philosophy? Why is it important to study philosophy? Let us start first answering the question: what is philosophy? Philosophy came from the two Greek words philien or philia, which means love, and sophia, which means knowledge. The basic idea here that we cannot love someone we don't know. Love and knowledge go together to attain wisdom. So therefore, philosophy is love for knowledge. Since we talk about love, let us discuss the three levels of love in studying philosophy. The first level is eros, which means this is erotic love. This is the kind of love that is based on physical attraction and physical appearance and attributions. The second one, which is very familiar, love for knowledge, philia, or the desire to know someone or to learn something. And of course, the highest level of love is agape, which is considered the highest form of love, a love that is sacrificing and selfless. Let's proceed with the ultimate goal of philosophy. It is a search for a synoptic vision of life. And the topics to be discussed include the human experiences of embodiment, being into the world with others and the environment, freedom, intersubjectivity, sociality, being unto death. This time, let us discover about objectives of this philosophy course subject. First, reflect on their daily experiences from a holistic point of view. Acquire critical and analytical thinking skills. Apply their critical and analytical thinking skills to the affairs of daily life. Become truthful, environment friendly, and service oriented. Active, committed to the development of a more humane society. And lastly, articulate their own philosophy of life. These objectives are intended for the learners, for the students, after studying philosophy or the IntroPhil. That is why the overall standard that we expect for the learners that they should be able to demonstrate a capacity for a critical and analytical reflection from the perspective of a holistic and profound vision of life. Let us proceed with history and natures of philosophy. There are three natures of philosophy: a mother discipline, or as a mother discipline, characteristic of a philosophic question, a second order inquiry. But before knowing these natures, let us know first the person who first used the word philosophia. It was Pythagoras. People in Greek civilization started to ask, question, or investigate about the nature or their environment. The investigation was called phosis. Ancient Greeks were so engrossed with their beliefs in gods and goddesses. And there was Thales who started to ask questions about the nature and ask what is the underlying substance that reality is made of. How do things come to be? These are the first questions asked. And it happened in Ionia, where phosis studied by early ancient Greek people. And it happened during ancient Greek civilization, I mean. Thales was considered the father of philosophy. He used the symbol of water to describe the reality of substance. because he thought that water is everywhere. It is liquid to change to solid. He used man's rationality or rational ability to explain the reality. He was the father of Western philosophy because he was known to be a man who veered away mythological beliefs of the Greeks. We owed from him this discipline. Together with him was Anaximenes. Anaximenes thought about reality or substance of reality that is made up of air. Second, nature characteristics of a philosophic question. There are three characteristics of a philosophic question. First, general or broad. These questions always asked in studying philosophy or in the science of philosophy. And the second characteristic is methodology. It is subversive, relative questions because the questions are subject to be studied or research and survey. And lastly, trivial. These questions have little value, but other discipline could answer little value but important. And the last nature is second order inquiry. Between the scientist and philosopher, the philosopher is the second order, and the first order is the scientist because scientists first studies in laboratory, experiment, and then explain the conclusion of what they have experimented or discovered and share this study and this discovery. And that made scientists the first order. However, philosophers ask questions, criticize, scrutinize the underlying assumptions, the pros and cons of what the scientists did, and then justify the purpose of the philosopher as the second order inquiry is to lead this discovery or idea to refinement of science and its methods. Therefore, philosophy as a source from which all sciences draw their view and watch all over. And that made philosophy as a mother discipline. The beginning of doing philosophy technically happened in Miletus. It was known Asia Minor and now it is Turkey. And the people in the place described as melting pots of ideas. People became opinionated. The place became center of trade and commerce, and people full of insights. The first people who were uh, popular in Miletus were Thales and Anaximander and Anaximenes. They were described as the three Milesians. They talk about life, everything about life and existence, and the study was described as Philosophist. Students, please study these concepts related to philosophy. Let us now proceed to the Pre-Socratic Ancient Philosophers. Let us know more about Thales. As we know, he was considered or is considered as the father of philosophy, and he was the first who veered away the mythological belief in gods and goddesses. He first asked question, what is reality is made up, and then he concluded it is made up. It is made up of water. Second, Anaximander, he claimed that the fundamental substance of reality is the infinite or the apparent. That reality for him is infinite or eternal or forever. The third, Anaximenes, we said this or told you this earlier, that for him the substance of reality is air because air holds our soul together. Pythagoras, again, he was the one who first used the word philosophia, but his main contribution that he gave importance to the contemplative life. He was also famous as mathematician. Next, Heraclitus. He was the first philosopher who first wrote the idea of change, that everything flows, nothing stands still, and it changes. And also, one contribution that he thought that substance of reality is made up of uh, air, fire, sorry. Heraclitus believed that um, substance of reality for him is fire, I mean. And Parmenides, he contradicted Heraclitus because he said change for him is merely an illusion. Anaxagoras, according to him, knows or the mind has the greatest strength and power over all things. Zeno of Elaia, his two main ideas against motion, infinite divisibility and finite divisibility. But he was famous of his contribution about Stoicism. And lastly, Empedocles is regarded as the pluralist. A pluralist believe in the substance of reality is made up of the three elements, the water, air, and fire. And he claimed to be immortal. And to prove that he is immortal, he jumped from Mount Etna and he died. We will discuss approaches in doing philosophy for our week 2 lesson. Thank you very much for listening. And please take note of the important concepts we discussed in our week 1 lesson in Introduction to the Philosophy of Human Person. Thank you.